Good afternoon. I'm here with Mayor Turner. Mayor, thank you for joining us. Congresswoman Jackson Lee, who's been fighting in D.C. on our behalf, and as well as Dr. Onyiego and Dr. Persse. I'll give brief remarks on the mayor, the doctors, the congresswoman, and then I'll repeat my remarks in Spanish. We faced a number of challenges over the last year, all of us together. We've come together to stay apart, to keep our communities safe. So many people are hurting right now, grieving their loved ones, struggling to pay the bills, sometimes all of the above. And it's tempting, especially during the holidays, to think that it's okay to visit friends and family now, especially now that there's a light at the end of the tunnel with a vaccine. But right now, in the holiday season, as the virus rages on around the nation and our state, we face the greatest challenge yet. In our hospitals, the numbers in the ICU have not stopped creeping up. All across Texas, communities are entering danger territory. The current situation, where our medical center, the largest in the world, is routinely crossing its base capacity, means that procedures are postponed, that healthcare workers are at risk of burnout, that we can't sustain a surge in infections beyond where we are right now, and that we're living at the very, very edge. The way to show your loved ones that you love them this holiday season is to stay home, to put your plans on hold this year. So as we approach Christmas and as we approach the end of the year, Mayor Turner and I wanted to join forces today to convey the seriousness of how important it is for everybody to cancel gatherings this year. Show your love for others by not visiting. Wait until it's safe, until we've completely turned the corner, and that will be when enough people are vaccinated. There are always ways to celebrate. Enjoy the outdoor spaces that we have, the great weather we have these days with your household. Zoom with your family. Open presents virtually. Remind your children that Dr. Fauci has given Santa Claus the vaccine already. The mayor and I have discussed potentially imposing a curfew. To be clear, we're choosing not to do that right now because it's a last resort tool to use when disaster seems unavoidable. Right now, we can turn things around. That being said, we are not ruling out a curfew in the future, should we need to put an emergency brake on the already grave situation we're in. We can come out of the holidays in good health, in a better position as a community, or we could be in a much worse place come January. So my message today remains, please cancel gatherings and get tested. I'm happy to touch on the vaccine questions and the broader topic after the speakers, but just very briefly, right now we're in phase 1A, which is where frontline workers get vaccinated. This week, Harris County Public Health is receiving 3,000 doses of the Moderna vaccine. We are working on identifying where the needs are within that phase 1A so we can begin deploying it, and we'll keep folks posted as we make progress on that. Let me just close with this. A lot of the times you hear from even very sick people that the worst of COVID-19 is the shame they feel when they spread it to a loved one. Nobody does that on purpose, knowing that they have it, knowing that they can spread the virus. You don't want to hear that somebody got sick because you decided to host a holiday party. Please take care of your loved ones this holiday season. Thank you all so much. We'll hear from Mayor Turner and the rest of the speakers. Mayor.
Thank you, Judge, and I'm honored to be standing with you again today to emphasize the importance of the message that you just delivered, which I share with 100%. And it's good to be with Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee. who's been spending a lot of her time in D.C. and then flying back and forth. So let me thank you, Congresswoman, for your efforts on our behalf, and it's very much appreciated. To Dr. Persse, to Director Williams, to Dr. Sherri Onyiego from Harris County. Let me just say I agree with Judge Hidalgo 100%. We both have been talking about where we are right now in Houston and Harris County. We've both been looking at these numbers intently over the last 6 weeks. And what we are finding is that the positivity rate is increasing. The hospital rate number is increasing. Our ICUs are up from where they were six weeks ago. And now we're getting ready to head right into the heart of our holiday season. And we both want to emphasize the importance of canceling holiday gatherings, parties, receptions, activities that people may have planned, and saying this is not the time to do it. And so we're asking you not to do it. We know that people have made plans to travel away, and people are traveling in. Again, if you can change those plans, postpone those plans, we would encourage you in the strongest of ways not to do that this year, to reschedule those plans for sometime next year. And it's important to do that to keep your loved ones safe and to keep yourself safe. I just, a couple of nights ago, a judge was on the phone with one of the city employees who has contracted the virus, and he's having a rough time. One of my employees, and so, this situation is very tough, and we want to do everything we can to have you transition into 21 in a very safe way. Let me say that, like you, I love this time of the year. I look forward to gathering with brothers and sisters and family members and many others, but this will be different, just like Thanksgiving. And I am telling people to stay home, and quite frankly, I'm going to stay home. So it's not going to be easy, especially when you grow up in a city where all of your sisters and brothers, nieces and nephews, cousins and aunts live. But this is just going to be different. And so we're going to show our love for each other by staying physically apart, but we are going to be FaceTiming and Zooming and all of that on a regular basis. With regards to testing, let me encourage people to get tested. Okay, please get tested. The City of Houston testing sites will be closed on Christmas Eve, tomorrow, and on Christmas Day, but they will reopen on Saturday. Okay, so Christmas Eve, Christmas Day will be closed, but we'll reopen on Saturday. So please take advantage. I got tested yesterday. The news was good. Otherwise, I wouldn't be standing before you today. I would be on a Zoom call. Look, today the Houston Health Department is reporting 634 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the total case count for the city of Houston to 1,012.56. And the total number of deaths, unfortunately, is increasing by 2 in the city of Houston. As of Monday, our positivity rate in the city was 11.2. It has been increasing for the last several weeks. It has not gone down, it's going up. And quite frankly, we don't need it to go up any higher, and we need your help to blunt the virus. Now, let me touch on something that I find disturbing. Monday night, as judges, I was telling you, Monday night, a man entered a bar, the Grand Prize Bar, with his mask half on, really not wearing it. And when he was reminded to put his mask on, to put it on correctly, he went to the restroom, came out, and then he struck one of the employees with a bottle over his head, and the employee ended up having to get 10 stitches. Let me just say that is unacceptable, okay? That type of behavior is unacceptable. I've been talking with Chief Acevedo. We are aggressively looking for this individual. We want to find this individual. We want to find him and arrest him and bring charges against him. Quite frankly, I view it as almost like attempted murder myself. But this type of foolishness is not going to be accepted. This lawlessness of this kind is not going to occur, be allowed, especially when all we're asking people to do is to wear your mask. And quite frankly, if you don't want to wear your mask out in public or when you're going to a business establishment, then you need to stay home, okay? It's really just as simple as that. But engaging in this type of activity in the city of Houston is not going to be allowed. Lastly, let me just say that the city is doing its part to educate and protect people from the virus. Tomorrow, Christmas Eve, the city of Houston is joining forces with the citywide club of clubs for the Christmas Eve Super Feast event tomorrow. We'll be passing out about 40,000 masks tomorrow. In addition to that, what we discovered during the Thanksgiving Day holidays is that you give people turkey and supplies. Many people were giving those turkeys back. So we're going to be partnering with a number of restaurants in the city to provide 25,000 hot meals that they can take, and they'll be ready to be eaten when they leave the Super Feast. So please be safe. But again, the central message for today is to cancel all holiday parties, gatherings, events. Please stay at home with your immediate family, and then let's join together to blunt the spread of this virus, and then let's transition into next year together. And I do want to emphasize the New Year's Eve parties. No. No to the New Year's Eve parties. No to the New Year's Eve gatherings, okay? No. And what I say is that, and what I mean by that is the judge and I have been talking, don't want to exercise the ultimate tool that we have, but simply want to say to people as it relates to the New Year's Eve festivities, it cannot, must not be the same as they have been in years past. This time, celebrate New Year's Eve coming into the New Year's Day. Celebrate them at home with your immediate family. No to the house parties, okay? No to the house parties, but just stay with your immediate cluster, your pod, and let's move forward together. Thank you, Judge. Appreciate the leadership. We've had many, many conversations, and just really appreciate your leadership during this entire year. Thank you. Dr. Persse.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Judge Hidalgo, for having us, and thank you, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson-Lee, for your never-ending, it appears, support. So thank you so much for that. I just want to pick up on a couple of things. From an epidemiologic standpoint, when we look at with the contact tracing, what we're finding is that when there are spread of virus, it's not in what I'm going to refer to as controlled environments. And so if you think of most workplaces, that's a controlled environment. If you think of the classrooms, a lot of the superintendents and the teachers and the school nurses have done a great job of making school classrooms controlled environments. That's not where we're seeing the spread. Where we're seeing the spread when it comes to school are the after-school programs where people drop their guard. We're seeing the spread at funerals. We're seeing the spread at weddings. We're seeing the spread at parties that the mayor mentioned. And around the holiday season, this is the time when we're going to have family members come together, people who are really comfortable with each other because they're family members. And that's when we have a tendency to drop our guard. And our epidemiology is telling us that that is exactly the places where we're seeing the spread. I will also say that every one of us up here recognizes that what we're asking for not having Christmas gatherings is a huge ask. I think everybody recognizes that this is a huge ask. And when we went back to Thanksgiving, in my family, my wife and I had not seen our grandchildren since February. So I put together a plan at my house where we had a really, really long table outside. It was over 20 feet long. I think it was almost 30 feet long. And we had a small gathering. It was less than 10. It was actually 9 people. And my wife and I were the only ones who were to be inside the house. And everybody else is to be outside. And you know what? We did well, but we didn't do perfect. And that was my house. We did well, but we didn't do perfect. We are not having Christmas at our house this year. We're just not going to, all right? And that's a huge ask for my family. Because just like your family, it's a special time, and we really all want to be together. But it's really serious that we pay attention to what's going on. This morning I did a little bit of the statistics for a different conversation I was going to have today, and I looked at, and I asked the media to go ahead and fact check me on that. You look at the number of cases that we've had in Houston, Harris County, and then you look at the number of hospitalizations. You're going to divide that, and you're going to find out that it's right around just under 9% of the known cases wound up being hospitalized. That's a huge percentage. And if you look at the number of cases that were hospitalized and you divide into that the number of deaths, it's just under 12%. That's a huge percentage. The risk is really serious. And so we are not out of this. The vaccine is on the horizon. That's good news. But it's not here yet. We don't all have it. We do not have herd immunity. And I think that we all recognize what we're asking for is a lot, but it's really important. So in my house, we will not be celebrating Thanksgiving other than over the phone and through FaceTime. And I would ask that you do the same, because I care about your family as much as I care about mine. Dr. Onyiego.
Thank you, Judge Hidalgo, and thank you, Mayor Turner, Congresswoman Sheila Jackson-Lee, Director Williams, and Dr. Persse. I'm Dr. Sherri Onyiego. I serve as the Interim Local Health Authority for Harris County. Our departments with Harris County and City of Houston have been working very diligently throughout this pandemic. And we all know it's been a long and unpleasant journey for us all, but we have to understand that it's not the end of this COVID fight. We continue to see increases in cases and hospitalizations and unfortunately deaths, just as has already been mentioned today. The positivity rate is showing the worst of the virus is still here and spreading throughout our community. We've unfortunately seen our positivity rate double over the last 2 months, and if we continue with this trajectory, it may triple by January. And that's why it's extremely important for us to avoid any type of gatherings this holiday season. I certainly wish we could all be with our families, but unfortunately, as we all know, this is just simply not the time. And I hope that you would agree with me, just as others have said today. It's just extremely important to our health as well as the health of the people that we love to make this a priority that we limit these gatherings. Even with the arrival of the vaccines, it's important that everyone continue to practice all of the prevention measures that we have in place, such as watching our distance, washing our hands, and wearing our face mask. And more importantly, we have to reinforce testing. Testing continues to be the foundation of our response, and we simply can't trace if we don't have a case. And I want to remind the community that testing by Harris County Public Health continues to be absolutely free, and regardless of anyone's status and regardless if someone is showing symptoms or not. You can log on to hcphtx.org or readyharris.org, or you can even call our call center at 832-927-7575, and someone will assist you, even those who don't have transportation to a testing site. The website will have our holiday hours. We will also be closed on December 24th and December 25th in observance of the holidays, but we'll be back open on December 26th. Harris County Public Health, again, wants to encourage residents to get tested. It's important to understand that whether you're showing symptoms or not, we finally do see an end in sight with the vaccines, but unfortunately, we just can't let our guards down right now, especially with the holidays looming around the corner. Remember that we're all in this together and that we have to stop the spread of COVID-19 in our community. So thank you.
Thank you to Judge Hidalgo and Mayor Turner for having me this afternoon and for me to have the opportunity almost at the end of the year to thank these two public servants, both in the county and in the city, for the masterful effort to save lives and to utilize federal dollars in a way that helps so many people in this region. Let me thank the doctors for their leadership from both the city and the county, and Director Williams of the City Health Department. There are two things that we know will happen this holiday season, and they're both unpleasant. One will be family members who will be engaged with each other, and one or more family members will no longer be there because they have died of COVID-19. It's amazing to even think of that when we look back on Christmas of 2019 with a great deal of expectation for a new decade, 2020. The second thing is that families will be unable, for saving lives, to have the big family feast and fun times that they've had over the years. These are very difficult moments in our community, and some will be tempted to breach that, to not know whether loved ones are tested and are negative. Many people believe this is a loved one, they can come. But I think, as has been said, the family they're speaking of is the family in your household today that lives at your address today. If you have a member of your family that is not part of your household, that is not a person that lives in your home and can come and you still be protected. So with a little bit of humor, I'm asking everyone to have a skinny Christmas. Feliz Navidad. Make it skinny in any way that you choose to do. Maybe you'll feel good because you won't gain as much weight. But we have to be serious. I'm here as well to continue to emphasize that the way you stop the community spread is a very effective way that our county and city government has utilized our CARES dollars to continue testing. I really think our community has been a model of testing sites that have been available, no charge, and in many instances, no pre-registration. I ask you to continue to do that, even right after Christmas, by doing it on Saturday. The other point that I think is very important is that we have seen the revenue decline for both the county and the city, mostly, and that will be for all of our cities and counties and hamlets throughout the state. They really have been hit hardest because they have so many services, our first responders, our municipal and county workers, all doing things that the people of this community need. And so the one thing that I'd like to emphasize is that our funding bills are complete. We have passed a COVID package for $900 billion that will send money, CARES money, to the counties and cities that they can utilize for rental assistance, the programs that they've created. They can utilize for housing, paid sick leave. They can utilize for testing and contact tracing. And of course, as the vaccines come, vaccine distribution. Now, I believe that we in the federal government have to be more helpful to local governments by providing them a roadmap of logistically how these vaccines are coming, and that is something that we'll be working on, and then how they and what areas and how the data should be accumulated as they proceed to do the work as best they can. I had the privilege of, before leaving for Washington Monday last, is seeing the vaccine come in at Harris Health, both at LBJ and Ben Taub. It was more than an early Christmas gift, but the main idea was to see health professionals, tears in their eyes, and willingness for them to get vaccinated. So we have a $1.4 trillion funding bill that is separated by COVID-19, and finally, an appropriations funding that is going to give the county what she needs in housing and what she needs to provide for the environment as well as infrastructure, and to the city for the needs that they have. We expect that this bill will be signed in spite of difficulties for the government not to close by the beginning of next week. And I would hope that at least our community will get the extra $300 per week on unemployment, which we passed, and everyone wants $1,000, $2,000. We all fought for that. I fought for $2,500 for an individual, $1,500 for a child. But where we came down to, because of the opposition of the members of the Senate leadership, was $600 for the cash payment that really could be in the hands of Americans next week. As we plod through that, I do want it to be clear that our funding bills are ready to be sent, only needing a signature, and we're prepared to work as hard as we can to ensure that our local communities who have experienced such a deep revenue source loss are made whole. And we will do so as we continue to work into 2021 and just, we moved past the budget cap, $12 billion, so that we could get more money to our local communities. We will continue to work on that and be reminded that this is our most important task. My final word is to speak of the vaccines, to make people understand that the process of vaccinations will not be finished in the spring or May. They will continue for a period of time until we can vaccinate the entire nation. We ask for your patience and understanding, and we also ask that you willingly get vaccinated, as we have done, and some of us have done it publicly after we've been asked to do it, so that we can tell people it's okay, and it really is to save lives. That's what each and every one who takes an oath to serve this nation is responsible of doing, is helping to save lives and to protect our families.
Thank you, Congresswoman. And I do want to say, obviously, as local governments, we are squeezed right now by added needs and what we're going to see as a decrease in our revenues as well. So we appreciate the efforts by you and the leadership to send support and look forward to working with you in the new year on that as well. I'll make clear, based on the mayor's comments, I also will be spending Christmas by myself with my own two-person Christmas, two-person New Year, just as I had a two-person Thanksgiving. And so we are not just saying this is what we are doing, and we need everybody in this community to do the same.